We are all contemplating what the office is going to look like when we get back to it, if we get back to it. And our next guest is someone who is helping to try to formulate that. In fact, has already been helping to kind of make offices more remote and more distant in some cases. Larry Gadea is the Envoy CEO. He's joining us from San Francisco, California. So talk to us about what Envoy has been doing. I mean, essentially, you do things like sign-in products for when someone comes to an office that they are not necessarily face-to-face with someone, they sign in on a tablet, for example. What are some of the ways that we're going to be using technology going forward, that and other examples in this new world?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. I think it's generally we're in something like 14,000 offices today, and just used on a daily basis by tens to hundreds of thousands of people. And really what we're noticing is that they're coming in and they want to feel safe. They want to feel like the workplace that they're coming into is not going to make the situation any worse for them, but they still want to get all the benefits of being really close and being able to be collaborative. So some of the things we're seeing right now, after I've personally talked to dozens of these customers, our employees at our company have talked to probably hundreds, if not thousands at this point. And we've actually even launched a whole product around this of Envoy Protect. But the point is, people want to be able to know, hey, is this person sick or not today? Or is there any kind of risk there? So they're doing things like, hey, in the morning, you get a quick survey sent to your phone. Have you been near someone that was sick? Are you feeling not so great? Have you taken public transit? And if you answer no on any of those, it would basically tell you, hey, like, are you really sure you want to be showing up today? And what companies are finding is that literally just asking those questions is enough to kind of get people to say, like, you know what, I'll work from home today if they have that option, and we'll keep it here. Now, some other companies, it really does depend on the company. So some companies have actually opened. So some of our customers are in China and in Shenzhen, where they've actually opened up. And the people that are showing up, they actually are allowing everyone to show up to their office, all their employees to show up to their offices. But only a fraction of them are actually showing up, maybe 25%, 20%. And it's increasing, but people are still kind of concerned and like, hey, what else can the office do? So they're doing things like temperature checks. They're staggering desks. So no two people kind of sit beside each other commonly. And this is all really, really important things that is something that I think they're just trying whatever they can to keep it as safe as possible.
Larry, do you have any clients in Europe or in the United States who have opened and are using some of what you're recommending? What kind of feedback would you be getting? Because our cultures, our societies are different.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, especially around like in China, it's totally cool to go into a bus and have your temperature taken on there and to just have to answer these kinds of things and have almost hourly checks as well. But around here, like, there's a little bit more around privacy, and privacy is honestly like one of the biggest things that we're focused on right now, because we don't, like, for example, we don't want to store that information for people. Like, we will process it and then kind of like, okay, this person may be sick or not, the risk is high or low, and then we'll let it we'll store the high or low state, but not the actual answers to the questions. So this is the kind of precautions that we're taking to just kind of avoid just bringing up a whole privacy problem. This is no time for us kind of, it's people are going to bring in more security practices, more kind of top-down kind of processes, and we're really trying to kind of bring an experience on focus, like focusing on this experience, because it's kind of, if everyone doesn't participate in using the software, using the products, using the best practices, we are going to make things worse, and there are going to be more people that are sick in the workplace and in the city. So people that are opening up now, like, they're just seeing privacy concerns, and that's the big thing that we're really focused on. It's like, hey, how do we make sure we collect as important of data, and so people can make smart decisions? And in areas like temperature checks, it's like, hey, those things aren't very accurate, especially when using a lot of the different cameras out there. So we're trying to see who is accurate and who can we partner with. And this is the kind of practices that we're seeing right now of the people that are trying early versions of our things, but also just kind of what are the right practices.
Hey, Larry, I want to ask, you said that kind of the idea of honesty from employees, you don't feel well, you don't come in. It's the same thing that you see signs for in the stores, but at work, it's kind of different. You have this mentality here in the US that if you don't feel well, you go in regardless of what people say, because you don't want to appear as though you don't actually want to work. So do you think that's really going to fly here in the US?
I think the number one thing right now is people just want to know that their company is doing something to keep them as safe as possible. Everyone knows that it's not 100%. And the people that can work from home are being encouraged to work from home, and it's totally okay. Like out of honestly, even myself, out of the over like maybe 20, 30 companies that I've personally talked to, not a single company has said it's going to be mandatory for people to return back anytime soon. And that's a really interesting kind of thing, because not a single one, like I would have expected like maybe one, but none. And it's because people are still like they still visit their grandparents. They still like talk with people that are higher at risk. And it's just like companies right now do not want to risk it, even if it means like, hey, this person could or could not be doing their work. But I think people are starting to use a lot of tooling now to also see like, hey, what are our goals? How are we accomplishing it? Even in our own company, it's a night and day difference kind of how our people are being measured, and people are actually knowing what their goals are. People are executing faster. And I guess this is kind of forcing a lot of stuff where people just being at the office isn't enough. It's kind of like, hey, are we actually getting our work done? So there are some positives to all of this, but I think coming out of this, we'll all kind of will be better communicative, but we'll also like be better at goal attainment and just achieving things.
Larry, Rick Newman here. I want to ask you about the elevator problem in cities like Manhattan and others where there are a lot of high rises. Elevators are a choke point problem, especially if you can only put 2 people on an elevator. So are you aware of any clever solutions, whether in Asia or someplace, that companies have come up with for how to get people up and down elevators?
Yeah, that's a really great point. It's one of those things you don't really think about, but it's real. Definitely what I've seen is people it's one person per elevator. Other times what will happen is there'll be a kind of I forget what the company's called, but it's basically you badge in, it knows what floor you're going to go to, and then it automatically pushes the button for you. So it's kind of like centrally managed. Normally it's for efficiency that they use that, but now they're using it so you don't have to touch a button. In Asia, what we're seeing is literally tissues are being used. Like they have a box of tissues in there. You take the tissue, you push the button, you throw the tissue out in the little garbage can that's right beside it. And it's like people are trying to do whatever they can to be touchless. And we actually see this touchless thing as being more of the future. Now, we don't think it's going to go to that kind of extreme in the long term, but definitely in the next 3 to 6 months, we should be expecting a lot of that. And we're, of course, trying to build up products around this too, where it's like, hey, what can Envoy do to automate whatever elevator systems are possible to be automated? And same with door access. That's another one. How do you pull a door without using your hand? And a lot of like some companies that have kind of doors for like that are automated that you push a button to open it, they're making everybody go through that as well. So we've seen literally every permutation possible, but at the end of the day, like it's really tough, and people are saying, hey, have a mask and like stay away, keep it to like only one person in the elevator, take the stairwell. But it's people are doing whatever they can to retrofit their existing systems.
We're either going to be in great shape or we're going to have to get to work a lot earlier, or both. Larry, thank you so much. Larry Gadea is the Envoy CEO, talking to us about some of the new things that we'll have to consider when going to the office.